Good afternoon, 26th of May, it's Saturday, 2:15 in the afternoon here in Australia, and here is my latest video blog. Today I'm going to do another awareness video on a blockchain entity called Countinghouse, and their market niche is going to be about providing returns for investors within their platform using algorithms, sort of like a hedge fund or a liquidity pool. And I have been talking to some friends about these type of opportunities that are coming forward, and I think anything that allows you to obtain a certain percentage passive income of some sort is definitely worth researching into, and that's why I've decided to have a look at this one today and see what it's all about, and whether or not work out whether or not it's right for me. That's why I like doing these videos, because it enables me to get in to the white paper and have a look and see what they're actually looking to deliver. So, Countinghouse, what and who are they? And I've opened up a couple of tabs and I have gone into the white paper, which is obviously a better place to find the relevant information rather than just on the websites, and you can get into their telegrams and things like that and find out what it's all about. But the Countinghouse mission is, their goal is to maximise investor profits through mathematical risk management and application of algorithmic trading methods to the cryptocurrency market, and to further legitimise the blockchain as a viable investment and currency alternative. Now, in my last video, I did a bit of a market review. I was talking about how the existing financial markets are definitely moving over, and they're creating and setting up all the infrastructure in the background to move the traditional markets to the digital markets, and I think that's inevitable. I think the markets are going to be full of algorithms, full of trading platforms, full of artificial intelligence and Autobots and things like that, and I'm sure the big boys are going to make a lot of money from their due diligence in creating these particular software programs. And I think there's going to be greater opportunity for the normal people, the normal folk like us, to also get involved on platforms that enable great returns. And at the moment it is very volatile, so if you can, especially if you look at the futures markets, there are quite a few platforms offering particular returns based on different trading methods. Countinghouse is looking at doing the same thing. I've also looked into Spectre, I've looked into Sharpe Capital. They do some similar things, but they're using basically a futures type platform, and their software programs are up. You can actually get onto their betas and have a look and play around with it, and I can see that being pretty much something that normalising. They're trying to normalise a high percentage of the population into getting into the markets and being able to use the internet and their desktop to trade markets with a little bit more liquidity and a little bit more ease. And so there's going to be a number of these platforms coming forward, and I'm sure they're going to evolve, and I'm sure they're going to offer different incentives and different, they'll actually apply different trading methods. So jumping into the actual white paper, Countinghouse Fund is an already established foreign exchange direct hedge fund which uses coded algorithms and mathematical techniques to force profit from volatility and movement in the market, and I assume that's both directions. We are raising capital for a new fund in order to apply our existing techniques to the world of cryptocurrency, which shows greater volatility than fiat currency exchanges. They're having an ICO. There's going to be a hard cap of 50 million CHT tokens. What are their main advantages? Well, with over a decade of experience in trading on the foreign exchange market, both manually and algorithmically, our team is well positioned to transfer these skills over to the cryptocurrency exchange. All investor capital will go straight into our investment accounts, due to the fact that we are already established business with existing infrastructure and an already tested and working product. Our algorithmic trading models have yielded strong success on the fiat currency exchange through Countinghouse's existence, and our updated cryptocurrency algorithms have outperformed these fiat models substantially over the past 12 months. Previous fiat exchange algorithms have netted our fund 70 to 120% per annum, and our updated cryptocurrency algorithms have yielded just over 600% in the last 12 months. I mean, they're big numbers, and I always sort of go, hey, you know, and as long as they're not promising those type of returns, I think there is no doubt that cryptocurrency in the last, 5 years, 10 years has netted a huge return, but that's because we're early adopters. We're at the beginning of the S curve. Now, if these algorithms, I think, could possibly, if they exist, could definitely return you a certain high percentage. But the thing is, you could probably do that on your own, and understand you could do some basic standard trading methods and still get a really good return. And I also think that these particular types of markets are also going to hit a level of stability at some stage. So these particular percentages that we are finding and returns that we're finding at the moment won't last forever. So be very, very mindful when you're looking at these types of things, because there's been a lot of platforms that do talk about a certain return, and that they're way beyond practical and logical. I think BitConnect was one of them, where it actually, and this is nothing like BitConnect, and BitConnect had their own particular platform going on, and I think they were offering 1.5% return every day, which is just ridiculous, and there's no doubt they got called out on it, and look where they are today. So what else have I got? Based on the white paper, the Seychelles are a preferred. This is where Countinghouse has decided to set up their entity or their corporate background. The Seychelles are a preferred location for financial and investment companies due to their favourable regulations towards investment and trading. This gives us the protection of knowing that we are able to transfer funds to and from cryptocurrency exchanges and fiat banking institutions without encountering restrictions and so-called red tape in the process. As there are no foreign exchange controls and funds can be freely transferred in and out. So essentially they're saying Seychelles, based on the jurisdiction or the rules, regulations, allows for these type of platforms to have greater success without red tape. This ability to have liquid capital transferred quickly is fundamental to processes like arbitrage that Countinghouse uses to yield profit from currency exchanges. These type of platforms, I must say, I always tread very, very carefully when I'm looking at these, because I'm just not 100% confident whether or not when you talk about volatility, I like high risk, but I like high risk in the sense of information. I'd like to know a little bit more about my risk assessment and what's actually going to provide me a return on investment. These type of platforms are so new to me, in the sense that, the cryptocurrencies, especially the altcoins and things like that, have only been around for the last 3, 4, 5 years, and there's still a very, very young market, and I think we're all still learning how these markets are being influenced, and how does that relate to these type of platforms. And it's just still a lot of questions for me. Now, Seychelles, what I wanted to do is, where the hell is Seychelles? So I looked it up on Google Maps and I found it. It's this little red dot. And I'm not sure if this is necessarily a red flag, being in this type of particular jurisdiction. I don't know much about Seychelles apart from being a holiday location. But it definitely would probably have its own jurisdictions for sure, and it's very, very interesting. But again, I'm asking questions. So I decided to dig a little bit deeper into all of this. Our fiat currency foreign exchange algorithms will be unleashed upon the crypto exchanges of the world, allowing us to capture the intense volatility of those markets, as well as practicing our perfected double-sided arbitrage trading system on those exchanges. So the arbitrage keeps coming up, so that's what they're looking at doing. They're looking at moving funds in and out of particular exchanges and arbitraging. And whether that's small margins, could be 1%, could be 5%, I'm not too sure how this algorithm is designed to work. But you can find a little bit of this information on. They've got a short paper and a white paper, and I'm still learning, trying to get a grasp how easy it has been. I know that Bittrex and Binance I think have set up an algorithm of some sort to limit arbitrage actually happening and occurring, because last year in 2017 we saw a lot of funds going from Bittrex to Binance for particular ICOs and particular cryptos that were actually taking off on one platform and not the other. Sometimes they'll just disengage the wallets to stop money flooding out of the exchanges and going back and forth. So I think there's a little bit, they've actually applied some risk mitigation to these particular exchanges. So I'm not too sure, is this going to work? Countinghouse fund has already pre-sold in a private sale around $4 million USD worth of tokens to previous investors and are looking to raise a further 20,000 Ethereum. That's talking about the ICO. This will increase the value of our Countinghouse tokens as our fund delivers high yield through the forthcoming trading period. I'm always mindful when they talk about the increasing value of tokens. Obviously, no one can ever predetermine these things. It all comes down to the value of the product and whether or not it's going to deliver something to the end user, and how much of a community have they built. And we know that there's a big slosh going in and out of a lot of these cryptos. I think in 5-10 years time you're going to find there's a massive saturation with a lot of these platforms as well. So it's going to really come down to relationships and infrastructure and working products, and whether or not their early entry market attitude is going to actually provide the strength that they need to be successful in the future. The cryptocurrency market has grown tenfold over the past year, and this growth shows no signs of slowing. The simple fact is blockchain is the future. Many traditional market investment companies are avoiding or even fighting against the unstoppable rise of the decentralized economy. Countinghouse Fund instead wishes to embrace cryptocurrency and promise that it shows both in financial freedom from intermediaries and governance and incredible volatility with the algorithm profits from. So there's no doubt that there is volatility in crypto, but again, I think that will last another 5, 6, 7, 8 years, who knows. It will be reliant on how much of the existing capital from the financial markets, which I think is in excess of 65 trillion, how much of that's going to come over into the cryptocurrency space to provide that stability. And I'd probably be more interested in smaller returns and stable returns rather than big promises, which is sort of coming out through this particular white paper. So I'm still treading a little bit carefully here. We believe cryptocurrency and the peer-to-peer decentralized marketplace will do to wealth what the internet did for information exchange. Cryptocurrency exchange is still in its growth period with huge potential for further growth and increasing global adoption, making now the perfect time to profit from this market volatility movement, which is actually what I was just saying. I do believe that only the next 5 or 6 years is going to be massive volatility. We've seen huge returns over the last year, and I think anyone that can get algorithms and jump in on this and actually be successful probably will make a return. What's going to happen in the long term? Oh, who knows. Together we can blaze a trail solidifying cryptocurrency as the future of currency exchange trading. Now I did find interesting is that how many exchanges there are out there. There's a lot of markets now, a lot of decentralized exchanges. But obviously you've got some of the big boys, Bittrex and Binance are the ones that are fairly well known. And then there's a whole heap of smaller exchanges and smaller internal wallets through different jurisdictions. I know that I'm a part of CoinJar here in Australia, and they've just started their new internal exchange. I think they've only got 4 or 5 pairs. I think they've got Ripple, BTC, and etc. These type of things. So there's going to be a massive saturation of exchanges as well, which really does dilute the volume across the board. And I think the big players like a Bittrex and a Binance will obviously try to restrict big funds from sloshing between exchanges, and these arbitrage percentages will be minimised. That's how I look at their duty of care, to try to stabilise the markets and protect major investments, and that's probably what will happen. I think that happens in the background. They don't necessarily go around talking about it, but I'd say that there are some arrangements in place, and it will all come down to some sort of agreed algorithm. What else have I got? They're just talking about the investment strategy. So the main focus of our portfolio lies in cryptocurrency algorithmic trading, which captures profit through market volatility as such as we will allocate 60% of our fund to this strategy. 30% of our fund will be used in our double-sided arbitrage method adapted for cryptocurrency, and the final 10% of the fund will be used for crypto debentures, which is loans, and ICO investments to provide a diversified and secure foundation for fund growth. Fund allocation to these strategies may change to increase profitability over time. So again, this is just like a fund. It's a hedge fund. There's going to be more of this happening. There's no doubt some of the existing hedge funds that we see around the world, the big players, are getting their blockchain software and platforms ready for transition. That's inevitable. But when you've got a major company worth billions and trillions of dollars, that they're not going to just go and transition to a highly volatile market. So there is going to be greater opportunities for platforms like Countinghouse to come in and take a market share nice and early. And if they can make it work and prove a return, whether it's a stable return or a highly lucrative return, there's no doubt they'll get attention. And I'll be keeping my eye on this one. I'm not sure if it's something I'll definitely do from the start. It'll probably be one of those things where I'd have to check out the platform and probably play around with some really small money and see how it actually returns before I have that confidence that I would need to get into it. Especially with all the different platforms and all the promises and all the different things that we've seen happen in crypto. Our tokens, Countinghouse Funds tokens are a standard ERC, so it's obviously built on the Ethereum platform. They've got an ERC20 token, which can be acquired globally. Investment security priority. Cryptocurrency holdings will be kept across multiple wallets for security purposes where practical, and we will be using hardware and cold wallets to increase security. This will not always be practical due to the requirement of a human element, and I'm sure there's going to be levels of liquidity where they're actually doing movements from one exchange to another. And even just paying out people who want to move money in and out of these accounts. What else have I got here? The investment strategy, and yes, that was just the ICO. They have got an ICO. There's 50 million CHT tokens, which is not a lot. You're seeing a lot more platforms coming out with billions of tokens, which does affect the early liquidity and value of the tokens due to sloshing in the size of the market. When there's a level of scarcity, sometimes that can help promote the actual entity. But again, Countinghouse will have to do a lot of work to get community support. There is a Telegram. I will go and have a look. I admit I have not gone in there, but I do join all of these Telegrams to do a little bit of due diligence, see what the people are talking about, see how the administration works, see how what they're actually talking about, and looking at all the videos and those type of things. And it is quite tiresome looking at all of these entities, and it has been very, very overwhelming even for myself, because I do go and do a lot of these type of videos, and you sort of, it's challenging whether or not you get involved or not. But at the end of the day, I just like looking into what opportunities are coming forward for all of us in regards to blockchain, and this is just another one of many. What do you think of Countinghouse? Does it look like it's going to be a niche market that could be successful? I think anyone that comes into the marketplace early is going to have a level of success, especially if they can build a community and provide a working product. And if they can provide a return, if they've got audits and things like that, I think that would be really interesting. And I think that would show a real level of duty of care to their investors. So I'd probably demand a lot more. And probably would need to go and look into this a lot more. When you look at their website, the first impressions, I'd be saying they probably need to just spruce it up a bit. It didn't capture me. It looks something like you smack together in about 10 minutes. So, but again, that's just me with an opinion. What do you think of Countinghouse? Is it going to be a winner? Is it going to be a loser? Hedge funds something that people are going to be interested in? Is people looking at third-party hedge funds, or are people going to wait for the big boys to come in with their blockchain and their platforms? But it's all very, very interesting stuff. So that's all I got. Countinghousefund.com. Have a look if that's something you want to look into. And yeah, thanks guys for watching, and tune in to my next video.